and/or extraordinary circumstance. Excused members and members of the public will still be able to participate virtually. Members who are joining via Zoom must leave their cameras on. And this meeting is being streamed live on our YouTube channel and a transcript is being recorded. My name is Wendy Gonzalez. I am the co-chair of the BLP committee.
And I'm Frank Alzubiak, the other co-chair. We have three committee members here with us live.
Hi, Thomas Garza, member. James McDonald, member.
Ted Arenas, member.
And I believe we have Mike online.
Yeah, I'm here, Mike Noble.
Okay. As you might have guessed from the fact that we have so few committee members, we have a rare situation here where we do not have a quorum of this committee. So what that means is this committee will only be taking sort of a consensus of the people here and be reporting to the BLP committee at the next meeting who will actually take the formal vote.
Okay. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes, but just mute for the moment, please.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. In a sense, this is probably the best month this could have happened because there was no full board meeting at this point until July 23rd. So we are not slowing anyone down by this process. Whether something gets voted on by the committee tonight or at our July meeting, which is on July 8th, they will all go to the full board on July 23rd. We will give people a sense at the end of the week, by the end of the week, whether applicants need to come back or not on the July meeting. I'm hopeful that most of you will not have to come back because the results will be positive from the portion of the committee we have here. Okay.
Get started. We can get started with our class change application section of tonight's agenda. Item number 1 is 315 West 48th Street. 315 West 48th Street, Restaurant Corp.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Sandra Hong. I'm the representative for this establishment. So I'm here today with Patrick Lima, the owner here on Zoom. So this is pretty much a class change from restaurant wine to hard liquor. So we currently operate as a very traditional Italian restaurant, really small scale, a very casual environment. So currently the dining room, we only have 11 tables, 38 chairs. We also have a front yard that's within the building properties. We only can sit about 12 people with 6 tables. So there's gonna be only an enclosed front yard. Just respect the neighbors, and there won't be any music playing outdoors, only indoors. So basically they could just gonna be open all day from open to closing. We're gonna offer breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner as well. And pretty much the bar is really not big at all. So we just wanna offer a few liquor bottles are quite essential to pair some of the dishes that we plan to have on the food menu. We also met with recently with the neighborhood association called West 47, West 48 Neighborhood Association. They didn't have any sort of objections to our petition. We actually heard all the comments about the delivery bikes, like third parties, not to pretty much crowd around the restaurant, like in front of them, like blocking the sidewalk. We're gonna have definitely a lot of control on that. And we also heard comments about recommendation about the music, the noise levels, and also the closing hours to be 12 midnight every day, just to be respectful with the neighbors on the block.
Okay, a couple of quick questions. Your prior hours, when you had a beer and wine license that we approved, went till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, but you only had midnight on tonight. Are you sticking with midnight 7
Yes.
days a week? Okay.
Yes.
And then the other thing was you did not circle any music. Last time you had both background and live music. Are you gonna still? I assume you'll have background music, right?
Background music only.
So no,
And
no,
also, I remember when I did the restaurant wine, we included the live music. I'm sure we
yeah,
did did it market?
yeah, you did have live music and you agreed that it would end by 11 p.m.
Yes.
Uh, we can
So
do
with
that
the
again. You want that
yeah
again?
with yes.
Okay. All right, and as the applicant mentioned, we got a email from the president of the West 4748th Street Block Association, which said they
Yes.
met with Sandra and Patrick Lima, the owner. He took over the premises in April. Block Association had no problems with the application, but we did remind the owner that they should make sure no patrons congregate on the sidewalk and that no delivery bikes block the sidewalk. Mr. Lima agreed to this and expressed his desire to be a good neighbor. The Block Association has no objection, and we wish Mr. Lima well.
Any questions from the committee? Nelly, do you have any questions from the public online?
There's no one with a raised hand.
Okay.
Motion.
Okay, well, it's actually not a motion, it's only a consensus here, but thanks for jumping in. What's your consensus, Mike?
Well, I'm in favor.
Okay. And
Just
in
testing
room?
just testing the system, Frank.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, how about people in the room? Everybody, in favor of this? I mean, you can raise their hand, I mean.
Yeah.
Not a total vote. Okay, thank you very much. And,
Thank you.
as I said, if we think you should come back in July to the committee meeting, we will let you know, but, I don't think that'll be necessary in your case.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
And so this will go before the full board on July 23rd.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, our new wine, beer and cider license applications. Number 2 is 20 Hudson Yards. 203A, who's not at Hudson Yards.
Michael Kelly representing them. This is a restaurant wine license, which is known at Hudson Yards LLC. We're located inside Hudson Yards on the second floor in the mall. We're a small restaurant serving Israeli street food. We have 4 tables, 11 seats, background music. We have a service bar. There's no deliveries. The applicants own multiple restaurants in the city that are all licensed. We did have a restaurant in this building that recently closed. And that's about it.
Okay, Mike, that was gonna be my only question. So it's still gonna only be one place, but it's just in a different part of the building.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have anything else.
Any other questions from the committee? Nelly, anyone online?
There's no one with a raised hand.
All right. You want to have a consensus recommendation? Yes.
Okay. What's everybody's consensus to approve? Approve. Okay. Mike?
Yep. Approved.
Okay, great.
Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is number 339 West 44th Street. 339 West 44th
佢啱嚟講
LLC.
outbound 噶嘛？
Frank, are you here? Frank Palillo?
I am Frank. How are you?
Good.
It's good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a couple months, I think.
Joseph should be on also.
I'm on.
There you go.
Oh.
Okay, welcome.
Can you tell us a little bit about your application?
Extraordinarily straightforward sushi restaurant, very reasonable hours. Any questions you have? I mean, you're talking about 5 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Right, and this had been previously licensed. I don't know if you know the block. It's like 2 little parallel storefronts mid-block on the south side of 44th Street. And the other licenses were much later, I believe. So I have no comments on this.
Anyone else from the committee?
We're good.
Nelly, anyone online?
Sorry, there's no one, with the raised hand.
Okay. So consensus, a positive consensus, so we raise your hand.
Yep.
Like, okay, great.
All right, forgot to mention to the committee that, committee member Candace Hewitt has decided to leave the board. So it's not on the board anymore, and obviously they're not a member of this committee. And, they've not appointed the, new committee members from the incoming community board members, but hopefully they will be with us in July.
All right, next section is our new liquor, wine, beer, and cider license applications. So
Guys, thank you, have a good night.
Okay, Frank, as you heard at the outset, I don't think we'll need you to come in July, but we'll let you know.
For this one? For this?
Yeah, it'll just be the
Yeah,
full
Frank.
board, it'll just be the full board vote on July 23rd for you.
Be well, guys, have a good month.
all right, so next up is number 4, it's 346, 348 West 46th Street, PMAX 11 LLC.
Okay, just to remind the committee about this is the place on Restaurant Row that had a rear terrace that had a lot of community opposition. I'm pleased to report that they think things have gone positively. People did a lot of work. We had a meeting about 2 weeks ago that were attended by a lot of people. I was there. There were several of the owners there, their lawyer, owners of the building, the current operators, owners of the hotel upstairs, and about 12 dozen or more local residents. It was a cordial meeting. The consensus was that if the applicant was willing to do additional sound testing that was positive to the residents in the hotel directly from their apartments, they would be okay with allowing the terrace to be used, closing at 10 p.m., but with the roof closing at 9 p.m. and the music ending by 9 p.m. So that testing was done last Friday. We got 2 new acoustic reports in this afternoon. I discussed some potential steps with their lawyer, which are in the new STIP form. I don't know if you saw that, but it basically incorporates what the proposal was to the community members. We've not gotten anything formal from the community members, so hopefully we'll hear from them, or at least hear from them by their silence. Michael Palutis, are you on?
I'm here, Frank, yep.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, or should we? Okay, so I suggest we see if we have people from the community and then have a discussion after that. Natalie, do you see if anyone is from the community, Grace Mullins, raise your hand, and could you move over anyone who wants to speak?
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi.
Thank you for all the time you've spent on this with us. It's appreciated.
Yeah, it's extraordinary, but hopefully well worth it. I don't know if I'm the only one from the Whitby tonight. I'm usually quiet from this group. Is anyone else here? Do we know?
Nellie, is anyone else raise their hand?
There's no one else with a raised hand.
Okay, well, maybe they'll chime in while you're speaking, but if anyone else wants to speak on this, please raise your hand at this point. But why don't you go ahead, Grace?
Well, I mean, I really liked what they did with coming here and doing the sound testing. They used a group that, I think is well respected. And I think most of the people that I knew from the building had no issue with the sound. I guess what you just said, if that's a stipulation that 9 o'clock, the music ends, 10 o'clock, everybody is off that outside terrace, I think it's going to sit well with everyone, as far as I know. So at this point, I almost feel like I'm speaking for people because they're not here.
But we don't expect you to do that, but I would also assume that, that anyone who had negative views would continue to show up here, so.
I would think so too.
But as I said, we're not formally voting on this until the next BLP meeting on July 8th. So if we hear of people who have concerns, we'll ask the applicant to come back in July. But otherwise, you won't have to come back, and it'll just go to the full board with whatever this the consensus of the smaller group of our committee is. But let me read you the steps to what's happening. So the applicant has agreed to implement all the recommendations of the acoustic reports. There are now 3. If you want to see the one that they did from your apartments, just ask Nellie for it and she'll email it to you. But I took a look at them and they're, acoustic usual, usual good work, and the applicants agreed to do everything they suggested. The other steps are any music or amplified sound on rear terrace will be limited to background music only. 7 levels provided in the acoustic report. Retractable roof on rear terrace will be closed no later than 9 p.m. nightly, and all background music on rear terrace will cease no later than 9 p.m. nightly. Rear terrace will be closed and vacated of patrons no later than 10 p.m. nightly. Food and beverage service on rear terrace will be seated patrons only, with no standing patrons permitted, except for corporate private events. During corporate private events, guests will be permitted to order food and alcohol from the bar counter while standing, and also be free to move about the rear terrace. All corporate private events will be subject to the limitations on the use of the rear terrace stated above, which are the hours and closing the music. Any windows facing the rear terrace will be kept closed at all times to limit noise flow from the interior premises. Doors to rear terrace will not be kept open and will be used only for entering and exiting. There will be no music or amplified sound on the outdoor front porch or the front balcony. And finally, the names and contact phone numbers of on-site managers will be provided to interested nearby residents for a direct line of communication should any concerns arise. Oh, that sound good to you?
It sounds good to me, and very frankly, I'll just go in on just saying right off the bat that I'm very grateful to this management company for coming in with such good faith, and I hope that we can continue that relationship for many years forward.
And I hope so too. And as I said, they have been good operators in multiple establishments in this district, so I'm optimistic that that'll continue here.
Yeah.
Nellie has.
Frank,
Yes.
sorry, real quick, Chris, I see that Christine Bertet has joined. Does she make a quorum?
No, because the circumstances of her participating by Zoom do not allow us to count her for the quorum.
Okay,
There are strict rules about when and how board members can be counted for quorum.
I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Christine, as Michael just said, if you didn't hear this, we don't have a quorum. So we're only taking consensus of the committee tonight. We'll vote on it formally in July, but it doesn't really slow anything down because everything's going to go to the full board on July 23rd anyway. Nellie, is there anyone else raise their hand on this?
No, there's no one else.
Okay.
Is it a pass or is it approved?
Is it who has a positive? Who has a positive response?
I'll say pass.
Okay. Is that thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
Okay. All right. Michael, Christine?
Aye.
Christine?
Approved.
Okay, thanks. Michael, we'll be in touch, as we put close to the next board meeting. If things stay the way, the next committee meeting, if things stay the way they are, I don't think you folks will need to come back in July for the July committee meeting, but we'll touch base with you shortly before that meeting, or touch base with Nellie if you haven't heard from us.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you all for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Next up is number 588 9th Avenue, Sparrow, New York, LLC.
See the applicant here?
Yep. Matt Colton with Hellbrown Levy here. How's it going, Frank? How's it going, everybody?
Doing well.
All right, so this is a transfer application subject to an asset purchase agreement. I have Jill O'Connor here, and I also have Tosh, one of the owners. This is the Catch Steak location. So their team over at Noble 33 are going to be taking over that space. We're asking for the exact same stipulations that Catch Steak had previously. I just wanted to point, the only change on our end is that.
Matthew, you first, like, maybe let people visualize this, because I think people will know where it is when you tell them where it is and what it looks like.
Yep.
Do you want to do that, or you want me to do that?
Sure.
So this is the place in the Maritime Hotel that has a big elevated terrace, one floor up. It had been an Italian restaurant, La Serena, about 15 years ago. More recently, it was a steakhouse. It's it's on 9th Avenue between 16 and 17. So immediately opposite the Fulton housing, the residential development. And we have previously approved applicants for this space, both of those applicants for this space, maybe once before that, but during my time. And as Matt was about to say, the prior applicant had the same hours and the same arrangements, which is the terrace would close at 11 on weeknights, 12 on weeknights, no bar out there, no music out there. The main first floor would be licensed until 2 AM, and the smaller second floor would be licensed until 4 AM. And then Matt was going to tell you that the one change would be that they want live music now.
Yeah, live music is a really big part of these guys' method of operation. And I can kick it over to Jill to kind of run you through that more. But that is the only difference from the stipulations that Catch Steak had, and we had that included in all of our outreach to the block associations. We spoke with Miguel over at Fulton Houses, and he did have concerns about the hours and as it relates to sidewalk traffic. But
he's here, so he'll
beautiful. Yeah, we can hash that out.
He would join us in person. Too bad he's not on this committee.
Jill or Tosh, do you want to talk about music real quick and just kind of introduce yourselves and the concept?
Sure, I'm happy to do so. This is Tosh Furman. I'm the founder of Noble 33. The live music piece, it's a 3-piece band, small, really just it's a jazz and kind of R&B, old R&B style. We just do a few sets during the night to add a supplemental interaction and kind of experiential element to the restaurant. We have one location in London and Mayfair, one location in Miami. This will be our third outpost, and we'll be adding a fourth in Beverly Hills next year. We created our first concept just down the street, Medusa, which is about 2.5 blocks away, and we've had really great success in that neighborhood. I think we've really found that the neighborhood has supported us in such a great way, and we actually won an award for Best New Restaurant of the Year for the entire United States at that location. And our intent is, of course, to bring that same level of quality and service and meet the level of expectation of the consumer and of course the neighborhood in the same way that we have there, and to bring this new concept to that location.
Would the live music potentially be on both floors, first and the second floor?
It would, yeah. We basically would just.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say it is on both. I believe there are kind of 3 locations, and it's all on the diagram. They're labeled as stages, but it is on both the first and second floors.
Okay.
There are three song sets that happen during the night, and then we just go back to background music, and the music is all thematic and format in a way that it fits kind of the same format, both the background music as well as the live music.
Okay. Do we have any comments or questions from the committee?
Only comment, they didn't mark anything about the music on their application.
Oh, there's actually a corrected form. They're going to put in the Dropbox late, so That they've also clarified that complicated arrangement of hours. I spoke to, the attorney this afternoon, we did the four. They've also carried over the stipulations from the prior operator, which can't say there'll be no music outside of any kind. That, I guess there are retractable roofs on the second floor, which will be fully closed no later than 11, Sunday to Wednesday at midnight, Thursday and Saturday, no bar in the outdoor terrace, and all doors and windows onto the terrace will be kept closed at all times. So those are additional steps. We have a couple, I think you're both here for this, or, okay. To introduce yourselves to, people who may not recognize you, which maybe no one, and, let's start.
First of all, I am a member of Community Board 4, but I'm here as the public member, representing Falkland Housings. And, I'm a member of the Falkland Fence Association. My name is Hector Vasquez.
I'm Miguel Acevedo, tenant association president of all the houses.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
So, I know they talked to you, Miguel.
I've spoken to Jim.
Okay. All right, wanna tell us what your thoughts are?
So, as much as I would want to sit here and say I support it, because it's having food, I love the music, but not that location. Because maybe a decade ago, we finally got rid of the club scene. And we're getting maybe an extra 20 minutes of sleep at night, especially the children who gotta get up in the morning to go to school. Because all the traffic and all the foot traffic, the noise is so unbearable that they don't sleep at night. Kids are telling me they're failing tests, they're giving me every excuse, but they are not able to concentrate at school because of the noise. And one of the first things the parents said, Miguel, so what are you gonna do to help it? So a 4 o'clock in the morning to me makes no sense, because if you're saying this is an Italian restaurant and you're concentrating on the food, I don't see somebody eating spaghetti and meatballs or something heavy at 3 in the morning to fill their stomach. They're there for the music, and that's what they're gonna be there for. And that's gonna bring the foot traffic, that's gonna bring the honking, the horns. There's literally an illegal valet person who parks cars right in front of the place every single night. And it creates more noise. The police have come, they tried their best to control the traffic. It's never gonna get controlled. I'm afraid that what this will do is bring the club scene right back to Chelsea after we finally got rid of the club scene. And most of the stuff that is there now is restaurants and some members only clubs. And what was utilized for a restaurant was even tap. We're looking to open up a restaurant, and instead it became a club. You guys have up to capacity of 700 people. There's no way you're gonna tell me you don't want to create a club scene out of this, and you want to feed 700 people from 12 in the afternoon or 5 in the afternoon to 4 in the morning. I can't support this because I have so many concerns.
Yeah, thanks. Hector, do you wanna add?
Yeah, basically, we all know that that particular area is, high traffic, loud noise. Google, Chelsea Market, everything's there in that location, a lot of tourism. And, although it sounds like a really nice place that I would like to visit, my concern is, for the community. As Miguel said, it does get very loud over there, and, I'm afraid that it's gonna increase the foot traffic and the car traffic too, already there. And, yeah, it is kind of odd to have a restaurant open until 4 in the morning. I haven't seen something like that in a while, especially one that size. And, I wish them all the luck, but I just don't think, the 4 in the morning thing's gonna sell too well.
Yeah, is the current one, I know we agreed they could be licensed until 2 and 4. Are they not open that late, or?
No, none of them.
Okay.
None of them will stay open that late.
Got it.
12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, everybody's gone.
Okay.
I mean, look, I can just let you hear. This is 17th Street and 9th Avenue.
Yeah. But now, we sometimes have board meetings, as you know, in the open auditorium there, so we've seen it live. Nellie, it looks like someone else has their hand raised. Susan Marshall.
Did you call on me, Nellie?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, hi.
You
Sorry, there's something wrong with my video. It just isn't working today on Zoom, but this is Susan Marshall. I'm here tonight representing my BA, which is the 300 West 18th and 19th Streets Block Association. So just up from Miguel. And I just wanted to second everything he said about the noise, the traffic, the late hours. You know, we don't want to have meat packing in Chelsea, and it just keeps coming up and up and up. And the previous one, Catch, did they have 4 a.m. hours?
I mean, what they stipulated with us was the same thing that's being proposed here, 2 a.m. on the first floor and 4 a.m. on the second floor.
Yeah.
I don't know if they, you know, what hours they actually operated under.
Okay.
They were open till 10:30 and midnight on weekends.
Okay, thanks, Ted.
Okay, well, my opinion is with Miguel that they're not there to, you know, eat at that hour. They're going to be listening to music, and, you know, we want to protect our streets at that hour.
Yeah.
And okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. Nellie, anybody else with their hand raised?
There's no one else.
Okay, Matt, I think this is probably one that we need to defer to the July BLP meeting. You're welcome to address anything you heard if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the lack of a quorum. I mean, this is obviously one that's likely going to be heard again, and we're happy to put in the legwork to ease the concerns. Just from a general standpoint, I want to unequivocally say that there is no plan for this to become a club. Yes, there is a live music component. Yes, we are requesting late hours. We are more than happy to reach some sort of agreement as to what hours the live music is allowed to be on for, what type of live music, like whether we restrict the size of the band, whatever needs to be done to make neighbors and the block associations comfortable with this component. Live music is really such an important piece of this business model that we're willing to have a conversation with what's the best way to make this work. That being said, as was mentioned earlier, this is the intent is not for there to be hours long sets. This is a band comes up, they play 2 to 3 songs, and then it goes back to background music only. It's really just an ambiance thing that happens a couple times a night and is not intended to be happening at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And as for the late hours, we were simply requesting what was previously existing in this space. Yes, there is an intention for the upstairs to be open later than the ground floor. So we wanted to keep those late hours to allow for more of a late night space up top. But it's still going to be through and through a restaurant at all times. I completely understand that there's likely not going to be a hard vote on this tonight. If Miguel and Susan want to have further conversations with us and the team, we're happy to facilitate that, and I'll let you take from there.
Okay. Yeah, Susan, Miguel, it sounds like you're already in contact with them, right?
Yeah, I'm
Okay, Susan, if you'd like to have discussions with the applicant, just let Nellie know and she'll put you in touch. And I think Hector wanted to say
I
something.
just want to add one more thing, maybe you're all aware of it, but Catch Stick didn't have live music.
Correct.
To it,
Yeah,
so-
no, they
Yeah.
were upfront about that from the start, yeah. So, Matt, you'll agree to come back in BLP in July and not file with the SLA in the interim?
That's fine, Frank. Yep.
Okay. All
And
right.
I just want to also jump in on the sidewalk plan. There will be a doorman monitoring the sidewalk. Miguel, you and I can discuss that further of what you want that to look like. But we really think that this application is this is a perfect space for this project. So we're willing to do whatever it takes to make it work.
You should know if you've been, which you now probably have not been following community board for other business beyond liquor licenses, but Fulton Housing is a very focal point of a lot of activity for sort of how to put this renovation, efforts and how that should be handled. So I think in addition to the two gentlemen here, that their, the community may be somewhat energized. I mean, the community is that residential community is very energized and active right now. So it's possible there are more people who would be heard on this at some later point, but so please keep that in mind, and that is the change since the state place was licensed. Anyone in the room want to say anything?
I just want to say that I looked at Tao and they're open to 1 AM, so I think it's gonna be hard to get a 4 AM 7 days a week in this, even if it was prior. Had prior stipulations for that. Catch Steakhouse is only open until midnight, so. Live music earlier maybe, but I don't see. A positive feedback from the community for 4 AM 7 days a week.
Okay. Anybody else? Christine or Mike, you want to say anything of this? They're gonna come back in July.
No, I'm willing to wait.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for coming tonight. You're welcome, guys, to stay and watch us, but.
Oh, I was trying to talk, Frank,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
I was saying my raised hand doesn't work, I don't know why. But yeah, I would second all of that. I think the 4 AM for the music is not acceptable. I think 11 or midnight, and then there is a DJ on the top of that. And when you say it's not going to be a club, if there is a DJ, people are getting nervous about that. So I would be happy with a closing of midnight for the music and no DJ. And then I think you are asking for the same closing for both level. And before that, one level was closing earlier than the other.
Yeah, Christine, their original stip form was confusing. They've corrected one. They're asking for the same two closing approach.
Right. So I think the fundamental issue is first the DJ and second the hour for the music.
Okay.
And we can. I will say the only reason DJ was included from the top was we were trying to make it as smooth of a transition from the catch steak license as possible, and they had DJ on their stipulations. In all honesty, DJ is not going to be really part of this method of operation, and we can scratch that right here, right now.
Very good.
Yep.
Okay.
One other thing, if it's okay, this is Tosh Berman. I'm in 10 cities. We have 5 different fine dining restaurants. We don't operate a single nightlife venue. We don't do any clubs of any kind. You're more than welcome to look at all of our businesses. We have no intention of doing a club business or anything of that nature. The main reason partially was about maintaining the existing licensing that was there for the future value of the ownership's building, as well as the fact that we do serve later than most restaurants. We just happen to have a later crowd that comes in and eats later. And midnight generally is too early for us. We take reservations as late as 11:30 midnight. But we serve fine dining style service, and at no time are we going to be operating a nightclub or anything even close to it. We don't do that. That's not our company, and that's not how we operate. And from London to New York, Miami, Houston, Vegas, Los Angeles, etc., we don't have any nightlife venues. So I just wanted to, as a point of clarification, I understand the concerns, and of course we want to work with everyone, but this live music piece is about ambiance, and it's about creating a thematic experiential element to the entire dining service. It has nothing to do with nightlife. And we certainly want to.
Thank you for that, and we hope that perhaps you'll talk to some of the community members here and maybe be able to work things out. As you heard, if you were listening to prior applicants, we had a similar situation on 46th Street that the applicants and the nearby residents were able to work out. So I urge you folks to try to talk in the month before the next BLP meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, next up, number 6, it's 132 7th Avenue. 132 7th Avenue Management LLC.
This is Matt again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're not rid of me yet, y'all. It's me again.
Hey, Matthew, here we are.
How's it going? All right, so this is the Motel Morris space. So I have Greg Grossman and David Baccagnano on the line as well. Greg is one of the owners here. David's going to be the manager. This is a direct transfer of the current license at Motel Morris, and it's going to be staying really the same concept. This is an ownership shift. I just want to point out one point of clarification, and I did talk to Frank about this earlier, and he told me to bring it up in the room. I want to make sure I don't step on any toes. So the Motel Morris license was a 2 a.m. license. We decided internally that 2 a.m. is not really going to be needed in our case. So I had put midnight on the application. After further discussion, we're hoping to pursue a 1 a.m., right? We're not going to be using the 2 a.m., but midnight wouldn't really give us the flexibility needed, kind of as was said with the previous application of like, if you have a 11 o'clock sit down, you don't want to shoo them out in an hour, right? So we're hoping 1 a.m. I understand that, again, things are probably going to be heard again next time. So if you want us to kind of resend notification out to the block associations to let them know of that hour shift, we're happy to do so. And if you get any pushback, I'll come back and ease any concerns. But other than that, exact same.
I think just to Matthew, just to be clear and jump in, we're keeping the restaurant exactly as is.
Mhm.
There's zero changes to the existing operations. It's been almost 15 years as is. There's no change to the method of ops. It's a restaurant at the end of the day. If anything, everyone has been there very late, just hanging out at the bar, neighborhood. It's been very family oriented. People have been coming in. We've really jumped in and tried to keep it, exactly as is. There's no big change to the operation. We're just trying to elevate it, if anything. And we have no interest in pushing things later. We've got a very good, rapport with the building, I would say. The sellers, our partners, they're remaining as our partners in the new venture on an ongoing basis. They live in the building. Their family owns the building. They live on the second floor right above us. There's been zero noise complaints, nothing. We have no interest in keeping this thing going until a very late hour. We just want to keep our flexibility, and even in the negotiations with the seller of the space and in our transfer for the new application, we've agreed that we would keep operations closing at a 12 o'clock, hour on weekends, and, potentially just having people sit there until 1, but
Okay, thank you.
on an ongoing basis, right?
Okay,
So
thanks.
that's it.
Matt, just a couple of technical things.
Mhm.
One, on the form, I'm just gonna make clear that this application doesn't extend to any sidewalk cafe. We'll have to wait till, you guys apply and we get something from the DOT.
Yeah, the seller had started the DOT process, but didn't get far enough to the point where they came to you guys. And then obviously, as the new licensee, we're going to have to start the DOT process over again. So there wasn't really a point of trying to get DOT approval here anyway, because we're going to have to resubmit to the DOT and come back to you guys. So the seller's license is still in process, so that you might get a notification on that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Thanks. And then on page 5 of our form, looks like there's a little confusion about what a canopy is and what you have there.
Sure.
So if it's something that just comes out from the building, we call that an awning.
Mhm.
And it has no poles.
Yeah.
What we're talking about in terms of canopies are those things like New York City apartment buildings have that go all the way to the curb that have 2 poles.
Right.
So
This is
what are they using there?
This is an awning. That's what I figured you guys meant by pole supporting canopy. So there is nothing that goes down to the ground. This is completely overhead. It's an awning.
So just suspended. Okay, so I'm gonna cross out that comment you made before, but we'll give the answer a no.
Yep.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
I have a comment. On that same page, you indicate that you're going to use a storm enclosure.
Yeah, just during the winter.
yeah, if you use a storm enclosure, it has to be limited to 18 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So not the size that you see regularly around the streets.
Got it. Understood.
Okay.
So we'll put a
we'll put
a stipulation on that, right?
Yeah, we'll put in the stipulation about that too.
No problem.
The start closure won't extend more than 18 inches from the building facade.
No problem at all.
Okay, so the only question I have is the 12 to 1. I'm perfectly fine with the 1 because it's previously licensed till 2. Do we want them to?
I would also like to just jump in and say that our door is inset from the street, actually. So the enclosure that we have actually brings the door out to the street front. So our normal entrance is inset from the street.
Okay, great. I wish more people would do that.
Wait. What does that mean, though?
Our door is actually inset from the street by a couple of feet. So it
Right.
actually pops in from the street front. So when we add our storm enclosure in the warm winter months, rather, it actually doesn't bring it out as far as a normal storm
But
enclosure,
it
quote
does,
unquote.
it does bring it out to what number?
I couldn't tell you this off the top of my head.
So
but
the point is that it shouldn't be it shouldn't be projecting more than 18 inches from the wall.
Yeah, we can absolutely stipulate to that. There might be a world where our storm enclosure comes out 0 inches.
Right.
But
yeah,
we'll make sure it's nothing
it's
more than 18.
honestly, I don't think it's more than that. It is an inset door that the entrance stands at. So we haven't measured, but we can.
Yes, please do measure.
Okay, so the question is the emails they sent to the community, the signs, I'll talk about at midnight. Does anyone feel that's material enough that we should have them give up notice or? Okay. Yeah, I think, Matt, I think we're okay. I don't think we need you to, send out notice again. We didn't hear from anybody.
Right.
Now, there's no one here from the community on this, right, Ellen?
There's no one with a raised hand.
Okay. So, unless you hear from us, I don't think you have to give new notice, nor come back, nor come back in July. We will just vote on this at the July full board meeting.
Appreciate it.
July
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Consensus, does anyone have a
In favor.
positive in favor?
Yeah.
Great,
Christine and
Mike?
In favor, yes.
Yep.
And
Okay.
Mike as well.
Thank you.
All right, next up, number 7 is 166 8th Avenue, Freshco USA Corp. The applicant here, Danielle, is that you? Oh, great, just come off mute.
Oh, hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Danielle, owner of Freshco, doing business as Bar Soleil on 166 8th Avenue. So we're a casual all-day cafe focusing on coffee, pastries, brunch, lunch bowls, light bites, light drinks in the evening. We're pretty small, 19 tables, 52 seats. We'll have 3 tables, 6 seats outside. And we hope to create a cozy, community-oriented space. We're definitely not a party venue. We want to, of course, maintain a respectful vibe. We will have only background music, and our operating hours are 7:30 a.m. to midnight, Sunday to Thursday, Saturday and Friday is 7:30 a.m. to 2 a.m. And then at 10 p.m. every day, the seats are brought inside and the outdoors is closed, those 6 seats. We've been doing business since 2016, operating restaurants, and we have 2 other locations internationally in the Middle East. And this will be our first US location.
So just to be clear, we won't consider your sidewalk cafe application until we get it from the Department of Transportation. So I'd like to agree here that this application isn't extending to the sidewalk cafe or any outdoor space. So what you have to do is, and you may have started this already, your lawyers will explain it to you. You need to file with the Department of Transportation. They send it, they review it, send it to us, and then we'll ask you to come back to talk about the sidewalk cafe, because we really need to see the action plans.
Okay.
So this is in just for the committee. So this had been previously licensed back in 2013 till 10 p.m. and midnight. I guess it's a pet store most recently. Is that true? Yeah.
It was a pet store most recently, yes, City Pups. It was a fully licensed until 2016. I believe it was a Chinese restaurant before City Pups.
Right. But you're in a residential building, correct? There are apartments above?
Yes.
Okay. Did you give notice to those people, or did you talk to anyone who lives there?
I posted a notice.
On the door or on your door or?
On my door, on the shop door.
All right. Well, depending what other people here say, I think we may want you to talk to maybe sort of try to reach anyone who lives in that building directly. Because this is it was licensed before, but the hours were shorter, and most recently it's been a pet store for like 8 years, it sounds like. So these it's possible the residents are not used to having their licensed establishment downstairs. We just want to make sure they're comfortable with what's happening.
Questions or comments from the committee?
I lived across the street from him for years. The Chinese place closed and then it sat vacant for a while. So yeah, I don't think people would live in.
Okay. Actually, I have a question for Danielle. I'm curious about the 2 a.m. given that your business plan seems to be sort of an all-day thing, which I don't usually associate with places staying open that late. Can you sort of tell us, what you intend, say, from midnight to 1 or midnight to 2?
Sure. We're not hard set on 2 a.m. It's just with our other locations, we're a casual bar in the evening, more of a wine bar. And sometimes on the weekend, people stay a bit later, but it's very much people stay conversation. There's no dancing or loud music, anything like that. So occasionally that happens on the weekends with our other concept. We're not hard set on that for this location, but it would be something calm, like no DJ or live music or anything like that.
And just to confirm, you put the notice up in the application. It says that you also emailed the list that the office provided you. Did you email like the block associations nearby?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and they're not shy.
Yeah.
Nellie, is there anyone from the community online?
I am.
Oh, sorry, Christine.
Yeah, I wonder whether the sound isolation has been done between the premises and the floor above. And I don't have a knowledge of what is the state of that.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
But if it was a Chinese restaurant which maybe didn't have any music at all, no background, and then the dogs, and that would be kind of the first time that there is any kind of music there. And as we know, depending where the speakers are installed or whatever, it become a problem with the building. What is the building? Is it a tenement, or is it what kind of building is it?
It's I think two stories above the ground floor, so 3-story building.
Yeah,
Um,
I would encourage you to reach out to the people who live directly above you and discuss what you're going to do, and also get some direction from somebody who is knowledgeable with sound on where you should put your speaker so that it doesn't, travel.
So Christine, at least based on the prior stip form of the Chinese place, which dates back to 2013, they did say they were gonna have background music, and they said they'd follow the recommendations of a certified sound engineer,
Oh,
but
good.
there's no acoustic report or anything attached, or at least
Yeah.
that we still have. So we don't really know, what happened back then. Um, are you okay with, the applicant just sort of trying to talk to the people in the building?
Yeah.
I hate to add the expense of a
Right.
big acoustic study if we don't have anyone who's expressing concerns. So Danielle, what we'd like you to do before our July meeting, would be, and your lawyer can help you with this because they do it all the time, is really try to reach out specifically to the people in that building. Sometimes I don't know who owns it, sometimes the owner or the managing agent of the building can help you get in touch with the tenants, or he can offer to give, your contact info to the tenants. Maybe put a sign up directly, in their vestibule if you can do that. But try and do everything you can, and we just want you to explain to them what you plan to do, your hours, background music, and just so to make sure they're comfortable with that. If there are concerns, we may need to think about getting, you do actually do an acoustic study. But again, I'd rather wait and see if, anyone there has concerns about it. Maybe they've been living there forever and the Chinese restaurant was fine and they didn't hear dogs barking either. All right, so are you okay doing that, the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll reach out to them and see what happens. If necessary, I can get some acoustic engineers in to take a look, definitely.
Okay, Melanie, Susan Marshall raised her hand. This again is the representative of one of the local block associations. Let's hear what she has to say.
Thank you very much. As mentioned previously, I'm on the 300 block, but I do bank at the Chase Bank on 18th and I work on 5th and 18th. So I'm always going by that neighborhood. I agree with the board that the committee that Danielle and co should reach out to the neighbors. I can't speak to that, but I've taken a look at their website and at some of their other properties, and I think they have a nice business model. And I think that, from what I can see, not having met them personally, they would be very good neighbors. So I just wanted to give that validation. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Is there a block association that would cover this location that you know of?
I think there is, and I should know that off the top of my head since I'm also now the president of CCBA, but I'll have to look it up. I'm sorry.
Okay, if you find one, they may be on our list already and they notify everybody on the list.
Is it? I'm sorry. Excuse me for interrupting.
So if you find a specific one, could you send it to Nellie Gonzalez in the board office?
Yeah, there is a 100 West 16th, so I'll send it to Nellie.
Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And okay, Danielle, you should, Nellie's gonna send you the address of this specific block association. If it's not someone you've already emailed about this, if you could email them right away, that would be great too.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Okay, and we will let you know depending on what you hear and we hear. Actually, if you could email us, maybe by, when's the board meeting? July 8th. If you could email us by the end of June about, what additional notice you did and whether you heard from anybody or whether you actually talked with anybody, that would be great. And based on that, we can decide if we need you to come back to the July committee meeting. But in any case, your application will be heard by the full board on July 23rd. Okay?
Okay, all right. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Any other comments? Maybe I have a consensus recommendation.
I'm in favor.
Yes.
In favor?
Okay.
Mike? All right. Fantastic. Thank you. All right, next up, number 8, 460 West 34th Street, store number 2, MP Planning Board.
Hello, my name is Satoru. I'm representing MP Planning Corp. And I am planning to open small sushi restaurant, 20 seats space. And I actually applied the another license last year for the Japanese restaurant. It's called Odo, which is Odo's second location in the same building, same address. And license was approved. Approved by the community board and the broker association. So this sushi restaurant will be attached to that Japanese restaurant next door. And music is just quiet background music only.
Okay. So other people may be somewhat confused by, oh, sorry, this is number 9, right?
This is number 8.
Number 8. Yeah, so this is basically a building that spans all of 10th Avenue. Are you on 10th Avenue or not? 10th Avenue, right?
Yes, 10th Avenue and 34th Street.
Right, so, but basically the ground floor space has been subdivided in different ways over the years. At one point, it was a massive restaurant that extended all the way through from 34th to 33rd Street. It's been a Dwayne Reed more recently, and now it's getting subdivided into very small spaces. And as this gentleman just said, he's already opening one part and another storefront in one part of this building. This would be a second one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Nellie, on the issue you and I discussed earlier, the address that they have on the form is going to be the official address of this location. So that's how they're going to apply to the SLA. So that's the one we should use as well.
Okay.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Nellie, anyone online?
No, there's no one.
In favor.
Yeah.
Mike?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. Sorry, if you don't speak up, we don't necessarily see you because the camera doesn't always switch around when people are
In
silent.
favor.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. On to number 9, 605 6th Avenue, 5 Iron Gold Flatiron LLC.
Hi, I'm Catherine Solomon. I'm one of the co-founders and chief legal officer for 5 Iron Golf. We have 6, almost 7 locations in Manhattan. Well, I guess New York City, counting Long Island City, and our newest one is hopefully going to open in the next month near Rockefeller Center. So this would be our 8th New York City location. And we have almost 30 locations across the US. It's an indoor golf and entertainment concept. So we have restaurant and bar, and then golf simulators where people can play golf, take lessons, kids take lessons. People just come and practice before work sometimes, kind of treat it like a gym. So we have our operating hours that we put on the application. We typically open at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, and then 8 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, and then close at midnight or we're asking to close at midnight, Monday to Thursday, and then closing at 2 a.m. Friday, Saturday, and then midnight again on Sunday. We are just going to have pre-recorded background music. We're gonna have 2 levels. It's on 18th and 6th. It used to be, I think, a Dwayne Reed or other drugstore. I think it's right near that Chase Bank, actually, that was mentioned. And right below the Five Below store.
Couple things. Obviously, you will only commence liquor sales no earlier than the state liquor license rules allow, which
Yeah.
I don't think are 6 a.m.
Yeah, no one's drinking at 6 a.m.
Right, and I believe I discussed this with your lawyer. This is a commercial building. There are only commercial establishments above this space.
I think that's right. I need to look at the plans to ensure, because I think we are somewhat attached to the 100 West 18th Street condos. But they're not directly above us. We're gonna have the ground floor and lower level.
And what would be directly above you? It's commercial space.
Yeah,
Okay.
5 Below.
the Five
Okay.
Below.
You have to run down or something.
Got it. Okay. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments from the
Yeah.
committee? Nellie, do we have anyone online?
No, there's no one.
My only comment, and I don't have a problem with it, is just the application has the 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday, but on our form, on this, it has midnight across the board.
Okay.
So,
Sorry, that was our thing.
Yeah, so-
Okay, but thanks for pointing it out, but I mean, I don't think that would have changed any community interest in this.
no, especially on 6
Yeah.
hours.
Did you ask Nellie about anyone? You did? Okay.
Nellie did it, I don't know, it all blends together.
Yeah.
Nellie, anybody from the community?
You did ask, but no, there's no one.
Sorry for being
I
confused
can
there.
double check, maybe
Yeah.
somebody pop up.
Yeah.
Fantastic, well, does anyone have
In favor, in favor.
In favor.
Favor here.
Okay. Thanks. We don't expect you'll need to come back to BOP in July, but this will be voted on at the full board in July 23rd.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, next up is number 10, it's 824 10th Avenue, PTVEL Holdings Inc.
To think of these two gentlemen, but is someone online gonna do most of the talking? Okay.
Eleanor?
I don't know.
Tanisha.
Yeah, Tanisha, 17th community member. All right, so why doesn't everyone introduce themselves first? Tanisha, you can go off with you. Well, in the meantime, why don't you tell us what your connection to this is?
So I represent Kate. Kate built the building, owns the building, owns all the buildings next to it. So we're just here to support and do all that.
Okay, great. Tanisha, I think you have to unmute. There you go.
Hi, good evening,
Hi.
everyone. Hi, my name is Tanisha. I'm one of the co-founders of Paint and Pour, and we are a paint and sip studio that offers food and beverage. So we presently have 2 locations in Manhattan. Our first location was opened 8 years ago. Our second is downtown, and we opened that location 6 years ago. So we are anticipating or looking forward to hopefully opening here at 824 10th Avenue. Can you actually, Eleanor, our attorney, she's raising her hand.
Yeah.
But can you
Yeah,
guys get her?
Tanisha moved over, we just didn't recognize the name. Now, can you move over, Eleanor?
Hello, can you hear me and see me?
Yes, welcome.
Good evening. Well, my name's Eleanor Shotton. I'm an attorney with Pozetsky and Bookman. I'm with Tanisha Belgrave, and she did a great intro for our application. This is their third location of Peyton Poor. They do have a current location on Delancey Street and another one up in Frederick Douglass Boulevard in Harlem. They were looking for a full liquor license. We do have a full kitchen. This is a previously licensed space. It did have full liquor in 2017 and beer and wine more recently. Our proposed hours of operation are 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. on Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. on Saturday, and 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sundays. We are requesting background music only. There will be an outdoor terrace on the mezzanine level within private property, and those hours will be 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. daily. And there are only 2 tables with 18 seats in the rear terrace. We will be open for private corporate events and art history workshops for schools. And all of our classes are 2-hour paint classes. They are scheduled, so they're not open to the public. You can't just come in and have a drink. You do need to have a ticket for a scheduled event in order to enter the premises. And there are 2 service bars. They're one of the corrections from what is on the agenda. They're just 2 service bars. There is no customer bar. All alcohol will be brought to individuals that have ordered through the servers. And I'm also happy to answer any additional questions that you may have.
Okay, so I think we got that information from the STIP form about the bars. So you're saying there were 2 service bars and no stand-up bar?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna change that on the form, okay? Okay, gonna make that correction on the form, great. So, as the applicant mentioned, this has been licensed at least twice. It was Figa, that Scandinavian place, and it was an Italian place. Both places also licensed the rear terrace. I did a site visit, actually my second, maybe third site visit to this terrace. The back of it faces a complete brick wall with no windows on anything. And, as what these gentlemen said, the owner of this space is a woman who also owns the apartments above and the neighboring building. And she actually happened to be at the site visit when I was there, and she told me that the tenants are fully informed of this. Everyone gets along well, that to her knowledge, have no concerns about this. And she said most of her tenants have been there for decades and have been through the prior licensed spaces.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
I think really good. Those spaces struggle, so right, they can do well.
It's interesting that 2 in a row here, we're getting places that, you know, are licensed that are not primarily liquor license things. People are looking, I wonder if it's a reflection of people drinking less.
I have a question. Yeah, on page 6, the amplified music, you said no, and then you said no amplified music. I think it's a mistake there. It's the answer is yes, right?
So there won't be amplified music in terms of using like amps, but they'd just be regular piped music through speakers, but you know, background recorded level only, no, you know, loud music.
No, we consider anything that isn't purely acoustic to be amplified music, so we'll change that answer to yes. And you made clear earlier on that you're just gonna have background music.
Correct, it is just background music.
Yeah, but we'll say you are gonna have amplified music. Oh, sorry, I take that back. Christine, you were talking about the outdoor space.
Yes.
You're not gonna, yeah, that was my misunderstanding. You're not gonna have any music at all on the rear terrace, correct?
I don't foresee us having any music on the rear terrace. Keep in mind that we do offer a painting class that's led by an art instructor. So the guests will still need to, participants will still need to hear the instructor to follow along with the instructions. So, I mean, for the sake of the application, I want to say, we won't have recorded music on the terrace.
Okay, so the question is about amplified music. And if you just have someone speaking, I don't think that's, you know, using the mic to be heard. I think you're still saying this, but they're not gonna be speakers for music and at other times, right? You would only use them for someone speaking.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Well, there's not gonna be any music on the terrace, right? The only amplified sound would be someone speaking.
Someone speaking, but there is like lowly recorded background music. It's never at a high level because again, it is an art class, but it's ambient.
Okay. I don't think anyone there has ever had music. I don't know if that's an issue for anyone over there. Yeah, no, the prior place, none of them have had music. And ordinarily, we aren't concerned about any kind of music in back door, in rear yard spaces, because it just has a tendency to travel and to get people to talk louder, because they talk over the music.
If
I
I
don't know what else.
excuse me. The outdoor hours are closing at 9 p.m. daily. If it would make the community more comfortable, we could stipulate to, turning off the music earlier outside, but we do have, we are requesting 9 p.m. closing outdoors, so there wouldn't be any noise past 9 p.m. in any event.
Okay. I guess I'd be comfortable over a little earlier, but I could also live with 9. I don't know what other people think.
Personally, I'm fine with that.
Very nice. But yes, I could be too. I mean, given that the building is owned by the same person, who's been doing this forever, I think she would be able to mediate any concerns. I mean, you could be here from anyone in the community,
But Frank, have you visited the outside space in the back?
yes. So, the north, this is on the north side of the street. I'm sorry, yes, no, it's on the east side of the street. And the back wall further to the east is a windowless facade. I don't know what it is on the side street. There are residential apartments above, but this has sort of been an extension that goes back probably 30 feet. So the apartments are active. There's actually no apartments immediately above it. And the owner of the commercial space also owns the residential building. It's the person who rents. It's an individual, and she rents out the apartments. So, she is very, she tells me she sweeps the street every day. So she's very much around there and in connection, in contact with everyone. So I guess I would be comfortable with that common ownership, thinking she would, mediate anything. She had asked, the issue of music did not come up, because I didn't realize they were asking for it, but I can tell you the landlord, and she was speaking for the tenants, said she was not aware of anyone having any concerns with this operation.
I would, sorry if I can interrupt, I would like to add that the landlord is very hands-on and has a lot of respect for her tenants from all that I can see. So much so that this was a very large part of our lease negotiation was the hours that we would be open on that rear terrace because of the, idea that it is outdoors and that it can impact others or potentially impact others. So that's why we initially came with the shorter window of business hours as opposed to our interior space. I know it says that we are closing at 12, but that's because our last class during the busier times is sometimes at 10 p.m. But again, that's only on the interior space. The exterior space, we probably would have our last class 6 or 7 p.m., maybe even sooner, earlier than that. It just depends on demand. But the latest that we will be open is the hours that you see on the application.
Okay, when you were talking to the owner, did you talk about having any kind of music in the rear terrace?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yes, we have the same method of operation on our interior as our exterior. So it's the instructor leading the class and then the, ambient background music.
But you discussed this with the woman who owns the building, that there would be background music out of the terrace.
Jacob, Kyle, if you want to jump in here, Kate is aware.
Okay, like you said, the Peter was the building next door this way and 2 buildings over.
Yeah.
There's one guy that's been right next door to the patio for I think 15 plus years at this point. He has young kids. They've been very involved in the whole process. It's been pretty clear what the system is out here, and every step of the way has been to make sure that that doesn't interfere.
Okay, and that includes that they'll be using it. We're just focusing on the music.
And like you said, it closes.
Okay. All right, Christina, what do you think?
I guess that's fine. It's a little concerning, but you know. Have you posted to all the tenants in the building?
Yes, we did send out outreach to all of the block associations that were provided.
No, I'm asking the tenants of the building, the one which are facing.
Yes, the landlord informed the tenants of the buildings adjacent. As Frank mentioned earlier, the landlord owns the buildings adjacent to the commercial space. So we informed the tenants, the existing tenants of our proposed method of operation.
Yeah, and the owner confirmed that to me when I was there.
Right. Okay. Well, if you are okay, Frank, I am okay.
Yeah, I am. And as I said, I mean, this is probably the most hands-on owner I've ever met doing one of these. And so I do believe, she says her tenants are all like exceedingly long-term and very happy with living there and her. So I think she's very concerned about making it an environment where everyone gets along.
And for me, given that.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody else, sorry, consensus.
Did we ask,
Sorry, did we have?
I can't remember. Oh, Blair.
No, did we ask? Anyone from the public? Anyone online?
No, there's no one.
Okay. Consensus.
Oh, wait, someone has to have a. Oh, that's just the recording, never mind.
Sounds like folks are in favor in the room.
Yeah.
Mike?
In favor.
Good. Thank you so much. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thank you, good luck.
Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we are moving into new.
Okay, thanks for sticking it out. Thanks for that.
Absolutely.
Into our new Department of Transportation dining out sidewalk and roadway applications section. So kicking off with number 11, which is also number 12, but we have the roadway for number 11 and then the sidewalk number 12, so we can talk about them.
So, Melanie, are you on?
I'm sorry,
Kelly?
say it again?
Yeah, just had a quick comment. I see what you wrote in the folder. So these people are only seeking approval to use the sidewalk and roadway, but not to serve liquor there at this time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
This is 64 7th Avenue.
right. Is anyone from the applicant here?
Danny Wago, 66.
I saw somebody from them earlier.
Nancy Reyes.
I don't know, we don't where they're Nancy. Now, did you move over Nancy Reyes and what's who she is?
Yes, the applicants were online earlier. I don't know where they went.
That's what I thought I saw them.
They had a competition previously,
They
came in last 6 months. Yeah. The neighbor from upstairs, like,
They were hot earlier.
Yeah, I definitely saw because they were under Sammy Wagon, yeah.
Anyone from 64 7th Avenue, Sammy Wago here? Please raise your hand.
I moved Nancy over.
Okay, Nancy, are you here?
I am. Sorry, my system's a little slow. Thank you.
Okay, what's your connection to this?
I am an upstairs tenant. I was there for several months last year when they were working through the liquor license process. You may remember that. And I did have a few questions. I was surprised to see they said no to the liquor license, for the
Well,
outdoor
they said no
cafe.
at this, just to be clear, they said no at this time. They can still come back at any time, but they would have to give us notice and we'd have they'd come before the committee again. So I don't know why they did this, but maybe Nellie does and she can chime in. But all we'd be talking about would be, having tables and chairs on the roadway and on the sidewalk. But there would be no alcohol service out there until they come back to us.
Yeah, I don't know if Nellie has an answer for that.
Now, did you know why they did this? Did they say it?
I'd have to look back in my emails. I don't recall. I just know they said that they're not going to do it at this time.
Okay, if you could take a look while we're talking and chime in if you find anything.
And I did have a few other questions. What are going to be the hours for the outside cafe?
Well, ordinarily, if the applicant were here, we would ask them to agree to our usual hours, which are 10 and 11.
Okay.
Under the law, they are allowed to be open till midnight
Okay.
on both. I guess and I would, unfortunately, we cannot put this over to the next meeting because the Department of Transportation doesn't allow us to delay our comments and they're due on June 18th. So we're just gonna have to do the best we can here. But if they do not otherwise agree, they can, under the law, be open until midnight. And the Department of Transportation is unwilling to enforce any earlier hours. They can agree, the applicant can agree with us, but the Department of Transportation will not require anyone to have earlier voting hours.
Okay. And then a quick question. There is a kitchen door when you're looking, and the images they supplied are not current. The facade images are not current. The structural images are correct, but they've added a sign without a permit, blah, blah, blah. There's the two double doors, and when you look to the right, there's a single door. That's the entrance to their like little kitchen area, offset to the restaurant. And just to make sure that there's an exit from their kitchen area, God forbid there's an emergency, people can exit. And then additionally, the tenant's entrance to the building is just to the right of that, the kitchen door. So far right side is where there's their kitchen entrance and also the building entrance. So I was just curious about clearances for the kitchen door and for the tenants building.
Well, when you say kitchen door, is that the thing that looks like a sort of almost a takeout window? Did that be kind of?
Yeah, it's not a takeout window. I think it's their kitchen door entry.
Okay, but it's the thing that has like two panels of windows above and then some sort of poster below it, right? Thing with the awning above it.
Yeah, let me just double check my picture. It's actually just to the right of that. There's another door which they did not show in this imagery. With the awning. The awning is now gone. And to the right of that, there's actually a door that's the entrance to their kitchen. It's about maybe 4 feet to the right of the image with the awning over it.
Well, again, since it's the kitchen door, it's really, I think up to them to make, it's their customers and their kitchen. I guess I'm a little more concerned about the residential doorway, but they're not in front of the residential doorway, right? That's to the right of their premises.
Yeah, it's a couple of feet over from that kitchen door. It's maybe 4 feet from the resident door to the kitchen door. As long as we have access, that's really, because I know there's going to be, it looks like they're going to have a little barricade around it. So as long as, God forbid, we've already had one major emergency in this building. And I just always worry about egress.
Okay. So the residential door is in the sort of building that's like brown, is that right? We just got a better picture. Okay.
Thank you.
So their sidewalk cafe will only extend to the gray part, which is their building. So you will have that, it looks like it's about a 3-foot clearance to the residential door.
Okay.
And as I said, they're the ones who are gonna have to figure out how this works in terms of the door, because it looks like the sidewalk cafe is gonna be in front of, it doesn't look like the sidewalk cafe is gonna be in front of the kitchen door, but, you know, that's really something they're gonna have to sort out.
Okay. I mean, I'm a little safety after having a partial building vacate for a year and a half due to a collapse. I look at safety from a different perspective these days. So I'm always a little nervous. Just wanted to double check
No, I
everything.
understand, and it's not ideal, but, you know, presumably in an emergency, people could, you know, these tables can't be permanent, nothing on the sidewalk can be permanent. So
Okay.
everything has to be easily movable. So I would hope in a true emergency, you know, they can be kicked out of the way quickly.
Yeah.
And again, if the applicant were here, Nellie, the applicant's still not here, right? Anyone from San Diego here?
I don't see them on.
Okay. All right, anything else?
One last question. So they never really fully opened. If they had made changes to the interior without permitting, and we have the previous photos, what happens to the sound engineer's report that they had done previously for the liquor
Well, I
license?
think in the report,
Does
they
that-
agreed to implement all the recommendations.
But if they made changes afterwards to the
Well,
interior?
yeah, if they didn't change what the report asked them to do, oh, I see, the report didn't request any changes, correct?
Yeah, except for no music, but since then they've been doing construction in there. They have made changes, perhaps. So once they open up, if they had made changes, perhaps to the ceiling structure or other interior
Well, yeah,
issues.
unfortunately, at this point, I think, I mean, they're not here, so. But if,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what more we could do, but tell you to wait and see.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little odd they did the report before making the changes, but.
Well, yeah,
I
they
mean-
have an outstanding, you know, for electrical work done without a permit. So with the DOB, there's that in place. They changed the facade without DOB
Yeah.
permits, so they have an
Well, I think,
$800 fine
I
pending for
think
the
the
exterior.
DOT is not gonna want to engage in these issues because they're not outside.
Yeah,
So I think the
got
best
it.
we can do is, you know, have you let the board office know if there are problems and we'll, you know,
Okay.
try to have a meeting with them. And then obviously, if they come back to extend the liquor license to the outdoor space, they will, have to appear again.
Okay.
So we can talk to them then.
Okay. Thank you for your time. I know you got a lot ahead of you. I appreciate you
thanks.
guys as always. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Alan, Oster very generously visited most of these Chelsea places. And he just noted the residential entrance on the right, but that there was a couple feet buffer, with it. Does anyone else see any, issues with either the, restaurant frontage, with either the roadway or the sidewalk?
No.
I mean, my only, I don't know if there's anything can do about it. My only call out for the roadway, which is, that is such a busy corner. And it's like chaotic there on Seventh Avenue, so. The idea of having, doesn't seem like the best location, especially because it's so close to the corner there, but. I don't think legally there are
Yeah.
problems with it, but.
Christine, it looks like they say there's 20 feet from the crosswalk, that's sort of what's required, or 20 plus feet. That's
Yeah.
what's required, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a situation where the DOT, I would almost certainly say this was thought about in the rules, the corner issue, and this was what the rules
Yeah.
allow.
Yeah.
And they've been very reluctant, well, not reluctant, they have
I think
refused.
I think they are fine. I mean, you know.
They also only went out 60 instead of 8 for the roadway dining. So I'm just wondering, maybe DOT took that into consideration and asked to make it shorter.
But yeah, they may have cut it back for all we know, because they do review these before they send them to, so. Okay, yeah, all right.
So I'm in favor for 11 and 12.
Me too. Christine and Mike,
Yes, I'm good.
thank you.
Yep, me too. Yep.
All right. That jumps us ahead to number 13, just 108 8th Avenue, Chelsea Restaurante.
Yes, good evening. My name is Stephen Kaplan. I'm an attorney with McLaughlin and Stern LLP. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, and I have one of the principals of the applicant available by audio.
Okay. Alan again couldn't be here tonight, but he did visit this. He confirmed that the measurements on the plan are accurate. I had a couple questions about your stipulation form. You didn't circle any music inside. Do they have any music inside the premises, background music or?
It's pre-recorded background music, which we've had for many, many years. The establishment has been open since 1993. This committee, different players at the time, but this committee approved the same sidewalk cafe, but for the changes due to the regional corridor aspects of 8th Avenue between 15th and 16th Street back in 2009. So it's essentially the same sidewalk setup the establishment has had now for 15 years.
Okay, and I don't need to predict that you would think of doing this, but we're asking people to stipulate that you won't enclose the sidewalk cafe in any way, put up walls or plexiglass or anything like that. Agree to that, right?
There's
It's what's required by the rules.
There's no issue with that.
Okay, great. And then Christine, the one issue you flagged, I believe was the sort of parking meter that is not opposite the cafe, but is somewhat to the right. This is not the 8 versus 10 foot one. This is one where the parking meter is several feet away from the cafe, several feet to the left of the sidewalk cafe. And if you recall, what DOT has told us that they only require the 8-foot clearance.
Right. Well, I think we should note that we should make a note in our comment that we think this is not in the spirit of, right?
I don't think we've done that before on this issue. We've done it for the 8 feet versus 10 feet versus 8 feet in the corners of the tree beds. But I'm not sure we've said anything about this particular issue when it's not, the measuring when it's not directly above. We can start doing it if you like.
Yeah, we just want to note that it doesn't respect the 10-foot clear path.
The 10-foot clear path. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
but
yeah.
That's only going to be a comment. We're not going to ask for modification, right?
No.
Okay.
The cafe measurements, excuse me, the cafe measurements changed based upon not only the regional corridor aspects of the block between 15th and 16th on 8th Avenue, but the existence of the parking meter, which is more or less in front of the residential entrance. So the measurements were taken and shown on our site plan to comply with those requirements. And I believe a representative from your committee came to the establishment and measured, did the measurements himself. And
The measurements are correct on your site plan. The issue Christine is raising, and it has to do with, quite frankly, the way the DOT is interpreting the rules, not anything specific to you. It's that when you're going between the parking meter and your sidewalk cafe, there's actually only an 8-foot clear path, not a 10-foot clear path. See what I mean?
Understood.
And then this is just, all we're gonna do is flag that we disagree with the interpretation and think there should be 10 feet between the parking meter and the cafe. But that, as I said, it's not the way the DOT has been interpreting, how to measure. So I think our recommendation, I believe, will still be approval, correct, folks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Approve it.
All right.
Right.
Yeah, let's just see, Nelly, anyone,
There's no one with a raised hand.
okay.
Alright, well, then it sounds like we have consensus in the room for approval. Christine, for
Yes.
yours, Mike.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Alright, next up is number 14, it's 160.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank you.
163 West 23rd Street, Malibu Diner.
Hi, my name is Andy. I'm from ABC License, representing 38 Plus INC. This will be a sidewalk cafe. We're looking to have 6 tables, 12 seats outdoors. Although this is a 24-hour diner, we will stipulate with the committee board's recommendations and open the sidewalk from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Mondays to Thursday and 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, Saturdays.
Okay, and you've changed your hours a little, since you came before, you're not open 24 hours on one day, right?
On Tuesdays only, yeah, they're closed from the midnight to 6 a.m.
Okay, and you previously stipulated that, that you'd, cease the service of alcohol other than beer and wine at 2 a.m. and beer and wine cease at 4 a.m. Are you okay repeating those stipulations?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on the photos, it looks like, your current sidewalk cafe is very much enclosed. I mean, it's sort of a permanent structure, right?
Well, let me actually pull it up real quick. So it is still detachable. It's just that there's a awning that's attached to the building that makes it enclosed, but it's not. It's still.
But I think you also have like, the sides look. You seem to have like pillars and side thing. I mean, the current rules basically say you have to have a readily removable divider, and this does not look readily removable.
So yeah, I just want to clarify that these photos were taken last year, actually, 2024. Once we get the permit, we're gonna have to comply and make the little corner on the front left side a little shorter, so it's gonna be an L-shaped.
Right.
So these are still updated photos, and we're waiting for we're gonna follow with the proposed diagram.
But I think what Mark is saying is that the partitions on the side that you have, right?
Yes.
See those partitions?
Those will be removed.
They have to go.
Yes.
You understand that?
Yes. They also when we get the permit, we're gonna change the entire materials too, to comply with the shape and the materials so that it's
Okay.
not fully attached like this.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll add a stipulation that the petitions around the sidewalk cafe will be removed. And that the cafe will comply with all the design requirements, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then Christine, I think this one has that 8 feet versus 10 foot issue.
Yeah. We
So how do you want to handle this one?
Well, you just want to make a note that this is not right, but we are still going to approve it, right?
Okay. Okay, and to the representative, the comment we're gonna make is that we believe that you should clear the parking meter from 10 feet in every direction. And again, it's another one where the DOT has been disagreeing with us. but we're just gonna assert our position again. That we believe it should be 10 feet in all directions. Okay?
Okay, so I'll see what I can do about that.
But, oh no, okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, if you'd like to change it, that would be great. I mean, I think you probably have to move that one table nearest the parking meter, somewhere. But if you could get 10 feet sort of in a semicircle around the parking meter, that would be great.
Yes. What we are trying to do is we're trying to get 6 tables and 12 seats. So even if we do meet that 10 feet radius and we can fit that table, yeah, we're happy to comply.
Okay, well, we'd appreciate that. Okay, so, on the stip form, we're gonna repeat the 2 stipulations about, beer and wine going till 4 AM, but other liquor ceasing at 2 AM. And then we'll say that the petitions around the sidewalk cafe will be removed, and that the new sidewalk cafe will comply with all DOT design requirements. Okay?
Yes.
And I believe, Christine, so what we're gonna do is, recommend with the comment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What does everyone think of that? Okay. Nellie, anyone,
Approved.
There's no one with the raised hand. Oh, there's one person.
Oh, one person.
Sean, do you want to speak on this item?
which is Malibu Diner?
I Okay.
He had put his hand up earlier briefly, so
No,
it might just
okay.
be a button thing.
Okay.
Sean, do you want to speak on Malibu Diner?
Yes, let's assume that.
But he has to unmute, right?
But is he still on stand up? I didn't even see him.
Oh, he's gone. He was right there 2 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Comes back, I'll speak.
yeah, we're not actually voting, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, okay, so I mean, the consensus there was for sending approval. Sounds great. On to our next, number 15, 523 9th Avenue. Nidis?
Yes.
Christine, this is one you visited, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So
Any issues?
No, there is a no, they have the right distance from the obstructions, but they have a very large storm enclosure, and I requested that they remove it, and they told me they would. So I think we can put a stip that they are going to remove the storm enclosure.
Okay, I think,
this is also my client. I'm
Oh, it's your client? Okay.
Yes. I have 3 tonight. So yes, I did get a call from the owner, and he will be removing the storm enclosure.
Right.
And I believe you also had a question about the roadway.
Yeah. So what happened is that the owner said he had applied for a roadway restaurant, and the DOT has refused it on the basis that there is a safety lane.
To clarify that, yes, we did apply, but the DOT denied the application because it's a no standing during posted hours. I believe on Saturdays and Sundays it's a no standing zone. So because of that, the roadway was denied.
Right, and so what I raised there is that those regulations were put in place about 15 years ago when there was a fair during the weekend, but that fair has not existed for the last 10 years. And now with the Port Authority construction, it is at the corner of 39th Street, so they're right next to the Port Authority construction. There is a whole regulation there for every day. So, you know, would be happy. I think I'll be happy to, on an individual basis, send a note to DOT and ask them.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I mean, you should send me or send us the application.
Yes, so I'll send you the original proposed diagram
Right.
for the roadway,
Right.
and then I'll try to get the case reopened to see
Yes.
if we can do anything about that.
Yeah, just send that to Nellie in the board office, and she'll send it on to Christine.
Okay.
Okay, Nellie, will you know to do that? Okay, we can follow up with Nellie. Nellie, anyone from community?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. But there's
Oh,
one with the raised hand.
There is not?
No.
Okay, the applicant is gonna send to you their roadway application, which DOT denied. Can you send that on to Christine when you get it?
Okay, not a problem.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments to committee? Or how do people feel? Very good.
Good.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you very much.
Yep.
And now moving on to number 16, 688 10th Avenue. Rice Bean.
Yes. Is
My
this one
last-
also yours?
Yes, my last one for tonight.
Okay, it's good we combined them so nicely. So I visited this one and did not have any concerns about the diagram. As Christine pointed out, the sidewalk is wider than usual. But they are following the rules to still leave half the sidewalk free and
Yes.
put the sidewalk cafe only in the other half.
Mm-hmm.
Christine, I think that was your issue, correct?
Yeah, I thought that the sidewalk free of obstruction should be 9.5, or should be if the sidewalk is 19, right? And the
Yes.
obstruction, the bike rack, take let's say 3. So
Oh, I see. So this is the issue that the bike rack is not immediately opposite the sidewalk cafe, so it's that issue.
oh, okay.
But yes, and I also want to clarify that for this one specifically, even with the bike rack at a diagonal position, it does meet the 8 feet radius, and even with the 8 feet radius, we have to still comply with the 9.5 clear path because it has to be 50% of the sidewalk at most.
I think it's 50% of unobstructed sidewalk.
Yes.
So the originally without the if it wasn't for that 50% rule, we would have actually reached out to 10 feet and still meet the 8 feet clear path from the bike rack. But the DOT told us to that we still have to meet that 50% rule, even if the bike rack because of that bike, regardless of that bike rack. So that's why we had the 9.5.
Okay, I get it. I get it. Right.
So Christine, do you want to make the comment we made in the past that the clear path should be 9.5 feet around the bike rack?
Yeah.
Okay, but we're going to recommend approval.
Right.
Yeah.
Rice and beans.
Any other comments, questions for the committee?
Callie, anybody,
No, there's no one.
How do people feel? Pretty fast.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Fine.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, next up, number 17 is 169 8th Avenue, 169 8th Restaurant Court.
Michael Kelly representing the applicant.
Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Okay, so this is one that Alan visited. He noted that the tables were sort of close to the residential entry on the left. So we spoke to Mike Kelly and he submitted the revised drawing, which was put up on the Dropbox, which relocates the nearest table and gives more clearance to the residential doorway. But other than that, Mike was okay with the layout. So Mike, I wanted to talk to you about the hours because you actually have shorter hours on your current form than you had on the 2014 SIP form. At that point, we had Thursday to Saturday go to 3 a.m. and you only have it at 2 a.m. now. I just wanted to make sure you really wanted the 2 a.m.
We'll keep it at 3 a.m.
Okay. And I think there was one other one. Sorry, I got to do a lot of paperwork here. I think there was one other. Oh yeah, I think, and there was a prior SIP in 2014 that the doors and windows at the rear of the space will remain closed during all hours of operation and will not be used by patrons or staff. Are you okay with carrying that over?
Yes, of course.
Okay. That's all I got.
Anything, questions from the committee? No, it looks like we have Susan Marshall. Just raise your hand.
I'm still here, guys, gang.
We're very
Bravo.
impressed. Thank you for sticking with us.
Actually, one in our own VA. I have some concerns because there were, and I wish I would have counted them, but several tables in front of the Joyce Theater that appear to be a continuation of this restaurant. And is that something that they have to run by this committee, or is this a deal they've worked with the Joyce?
That's under the new rules, that's not allowed at all. Under the temporary rules, they could have gotten, assuming it's their tables. Under the temporary rules, they could have gotten consent from the Joyce Theater to put tables there, but that's not allowed anymore under the new rules.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike, do you know what's going on? Were they, going beyond their street front?
I do not, but was that recently, Susan?
Yes, like a couple nights ago. And it wasn't just one night. It's been, a few nights when I've walked by. I mean,
Right, I
I
will
can go
talk to
take
them.
some pictures.
I believe you. I'll talk to them about that.
Thank you. Because I do think that would be a concern.
Yes, and Susan, it's pretty clear, like the Joyce is not putting out tables, right?
No, this is pretty clear. It's a continuation. It's the same tables and chairs and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let us know if, give them a week or so for Mike to talk to them. But if it continues, let us know.
Okay. All right. That's my main concern. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nellie, anyone else with their hand raised?
No, there's no one else.
Okay. How do people feel? Pass.
Approve.
Good.
Michael,
Mike?
he's gone.
Mike, you good with this? How do you feel?
Okay, you're on mute, Mike.
Sorry.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Hold on a second. Had to turn the light on. I'm fine with it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. All right, thank you very much. On to the next, number 18, 798 9th Avenue, the Meatball Shop.
That is also me.
Oh, great.
Okay, I visited this one. The plans are accurate in terms of obstructions and things. But as I discussed with Mike, they currently have a much bigger sidewalk cafe on both sides. I think under the old rules. But Mike assured me that when this gets approved, they will confine it to what's on this plan. Is that right, Mike?
Yes, they should be complying now, because I spoke to them already.
Okay,
Hopefully they
well,
are.
I went by on Saturday, I guess, so.
So
Okay.
spoke to them during the week.
As long as they comply with the plan, all the dimensions were okay to me. Christine, yeah, I don't think you saw anything. Christine thought there was a construction shed around this, but there actually isn't. It's one block further north, the big construction project. Yeah.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
No, I'm like,
Nelly, anybody from the community?
No, there's no one.
Okay. How would you feel?
Pass. I would like two drawings
Yep.
here, because I'm seeing
Approved.
two different drawings for the meatball shop. One has 3 tables, and then on the other side it has 5 tables, and if you look at the second.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tables, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I'm curious what application.
Yeah, Mike, I didn't notice this when, I only took the one plan. Can you tell us, like, they're fairly different?
What's different?
Good, there are two plans attached. One says 9th Avenue, one says West 53rd, but they're sort of not fully consistent. I guess that, Ted, I think that's because of West 53rd got cut off with some enlargement.
So what happens with this sheet and the architects is you can't get the other sides off it. That's why.
Sorry.
So the darker tables with the numerical markings on them would be the plans, like on West 53rd, there's the tables with the 2s on them. So the 9th Avenue plan doesn't really count on this plan. So as you
I
go
see.
back to the 9th Avenue plan, you can see the tables have the 2s on them, and then there's just a piece of the West 53rd.
Right,
Okay.
but you have 8 feet clearance, across the entire, 53rd Street.
Yes, we have 8 feet on 53rd, we have the 10 feet on the avenue.
Okay, and you have enough space in the cafe to have a service aisle, it appears.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, very good. I didn't notice
Good
that.
on. I think we are all in agreement on this one. Christine, Mike.
Approve.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Number 19, 205 10th Avenue, Tia Hole.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey. Hi, I'm Heather. I'm one of the original owners of Tia Paul. We've been open for over 20 years. We're on 10th between 22nd and 23rd. We have 2 tables out front, 6 to 8 seats. And we just have no amplified music outside, and we will follow the times to close as were stated, 10 o'clock during the week and 11 o'clock on the weekends.
Okay, thanks. The committee member who went by and looked at your site also happens to live right near you. And he said you occasionally in the past have put tables on the curbside as well.
Okay, I'm not aware of that, but if that's the case, then we will not do that.
Okay, because this isn't our request, that's just not allowed under
Okay.
the rules.
Yes.
And again, it's probably important that you just make sure the relevant staff people know that. Mike's sense was that it's, when you're in busy times, someone may just wanna put out a table there to accommodate customers, which is a natural impulse.
Okay.
So we'll include a stip on the liquor license form that says there'll be no tables curbside. Okay?
Of course, understood, will do.
Susan, anything else from you guys before we get on the community? Christine or Mike, anything from you before we move to the community?
Good.
Christine? You're good? Hold on, let's talk to Susan first. Nelly, can you bring Susan over, please?
Oh, Susan is still here. Okay.
And you thought you were well rid of me. No, I just wanted to say that I had a little exchange with Heather, and she was kind enough to send me the application because in the original email that went out, the application wasn't attached. But they are lovely and dear people, as she mentioned, 20 years in business, and I just wanted to be supportive from the 300 block.
Thank you.
So thank you. And I'm going away now. You'll be welcome. Thank you so much for all your work.
Susan, could you stay on for 1 second?
Oh,
'Cause
sure.
I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
So on the stick form, the applicant agreed to our usual request that the doors and windows be closed at 10 and 11 nightly. But they said no to closing them whenever there's amplified music inside. Has that been any kind of a problem, Susan, that they're playing music inside with the doors and windows open?
I've not experienced it, but I don't go there that often, I would, feel better if you ask somebody that's closer to that side community, but they're very, it's a small space. I've always found them to be very considerate.
Okay. Heather, is that the case? You'd still like to have the doors and windows open when you have music inside before 10 and 11?
Yeah, you can't really hear the music outside. It's the speakers are not outside at all. So, but if it is a bother to anyone, then we will do whatever is necessary. But the music is really inside, and you don't hear it too much outside at all.
I think I'm okay leaving things the way they are. I mean, Alan did not mention any concerns, at least he's by there all the time.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? You're still good? No, Christine's good? Yeah, Mike, you good? Yeah, all right.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks very much. All right, number 20, 206 9th Avenue, Arupa.
Okay. This is another one Alan looked at and he had no comments. I said that he thought everything was fine.
Hi, I'm the owner of Aroka. My name is Monica Saxena, and I've operated this restaurant for the last 8 years. This is my 8th year, the toughest year. Trying to survive, but I'm hoping that a few seats outside will pull in more people.
I have a question. I just wanted to know if that blue dumpster is yours in the photo or if it's the neighboring building, because it looks like it's.
The landlord and I share that dumpster, and that's where we put all the garbage because when the New York City sent the notice that you can't put bags out and put them in containers, it was hard for my staff to, especially it's only one person who's a dishwasher, for him to carry the bin up and then put all the bags in it. So I just spoke to the landlord and said, could we join together so that it becomes easier for my staff? That was the main reason for that blue metal dumpster.
Do you have some concern with it, Ted?
Well, I was just thinking that it is kind of like going over that entrance of the door a little bit, considering the drawing plan. But if it's shared with the building, then I don't really think that it's an issue.
Oh, I see.
The landlord and I jointly decided so that we can put our garbage in bins because don't want any rats running around. Pay a lot of money for pest control. So.
All right, we appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments from the committee?
I have a question.
Go for it.
It's up to me. Is that my turn?
Yeah.
So the pictures you are showing us show a kind of enclosed sidewalk cafe. You know that the new rules are you cannot enclose the sidewalk cafe at all, right?
So I believe, Christine, the new pictures weren't sent to you after removing it. That was done during COVID. It doesn't exist anymore. My lawyers apparently sent it across to the board, but I'm not sure. They said that they were received, but that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, and I should add that I asked Alan about that specifically, and he confirmed that the enclosed cafe is not there anymore.
Okay. No problem.
Okay, great. I think we would like to add, Monica just add an additional tip that says, you know, the sidewalk cafe won't be enclosed in the future. Is that okay?
No, it's too expensive and there's too much work. And
Well, it's
too
not
many
a lot.
activities which we don't want. I just want the chairs to be able to put them back in. And will I be allowed to put an umbrella if it's hot?
You are, but the rules are pretty specific. It can't extend further than the
Right,
perimeter of
then
the
enclosure.
cafe.
Yeah. No,
And it also
that's
has to be a minimum and a maximum height.
yeah.
I can't remember, I think it's something like at least 7 feet above the sidewalk and not more than 10. But you should check that, that's in the rules. But it's all very precise, but as long as you comply with those, and particularly don't let it extend beyond your cafe perimeter, it is
No.
allowed.
No, that we can make sure.
Yeah,
Just wanted to check before I order and spend money. So
yeah, but check or ask your lawyer to check the height requirements, because those are set out very clearly in the rules.
yeah, it'll be 2 umbrellas maximum, but I will check for sure.
Okay.
Anything else from the committee? Nelly, do we have anyone online?
No one with a raised hand.
Okay. How do people feel?
Good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fine.
fantastic. Moving on to number 21.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Number 21, it's 236 9th Avenue, Sullivan Street Bakery. It's a roadway application.
And this is one that Ingo visited, and I think, had some discussions with the owner yesterday or today. Nelly, is anyone on?
I do not see them on.
Yeah, is anyone from Sullivan Street Bakery on? Okay, so, Inga said that the plans as written are fine. The issue was they were extending, too close to the tree pits and not allowing the 10 feet, that is shown on the diagram. She said she spoke to the owner today, and the owner said he was unaware of this and he would talk. They also have a branch in Hell's Kitchen. The owner said he's mostly there, said he will talk to the people in charge and make sure that they abide by the 10-foot clearance. And if the sidewalk cafe looks oversized, that's because this is right next to Chouquette. And remember, we had that big discussion, so 9 feet, the 9 feet of the sidewalk cafe nearest, or 7 feet, excuse me, the 7 feet nearest the facade are actually on private property. So it's really only the outermost tables that are on the sidewalk, the others are on private property. Christine, anything?
No, so if they do comply with their drawing,
Yeah.
fine. The question is going to be whether they will.
Yeah, and now we're gonna want them to come back in July and try to get them to do a SID form. And if you need help, Inga has contact with the owner now, so she can call them and
Right.
put you in touch with them or get him to do what we need. But I think he should come back in July, with a SID form so we can do the alteration. So I would suggest we only get a consensus on the DOT portion tonight.
Right.
Natalie, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Any comments? No? Nelly, anybody from the community?
No, there's no one.
So Frank, just to summarize them, we're just doing a consensus, Brad,
For DOT.
for DOT.
And they'll come back in, we'll try to get things done in July for the SOIL bridge.
How people feel about that?
Approve.
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
good. All right. Next up, number 22, 303 West 48th Street, Sombrero Mexican Restaurant.
Is anyone on from Sombrero? Guess not. All right, so this one is problematic in two respects, one temporary and one permanent. As shown on the diagram, there is a tree pit immediately opposite. But the tree pit, on the one hand, does not have a tree in it, it's completely bricked over. On the other hand, if we were gonna consider it a tree pit, it knocks out, I think, almost all of their tables, perhaps not the two on the left. But to get 8 feet clearance from it, it's a very narrow sidewalk. I think the only tables that would remain would be the two on the very far left of the diagram. The temporary problem is that the building's under sidewalk shed. So there are posts, as you know, like a couple feet in from the curb. And it's a very narrow sidewalk to start off with. So it's very crowded over there. I mean, you probably maybe one person can get by on the sidewalk at a time. So without the applicant here, I don't know, Christine, what do you think we should do? Should we recommend denial because of the tree pit? Should we try to say something about the sidewalk shed?
No, I think we should deny based on the sidewalk shed, because the sidewalk shed typically can stay on, through 2, 3, 4 years, and it's a very clear obstruction.
Okay. And
So
that's
that's the way. The tree pit, I think, is less of an issue there.
okay. Yeah, because the total sidewalk is 12 feet 8 inches. So if they're taking up, 6 feet with the sidewalk cafe, he moves another 2 to the supports of the sidewalk shed, you've got like 3 or 4 feet of sidewalk left. Okay. Do you know, will DOT listen to this, do you think?
Are you speaking to me to repeat
Yeah,
that?
I'm just saying, yeah, do you think, I don't see the sidewalk shed thing isn't in the rules at all, one way or the other, right?
Well, no, I mean, once you get the rule of the obstruction, which is a generic rule, and it says you need to have 10 feet or 8 feet from the obstruction, that's the rule.
Okay, all right, that'll be easy then. All right, that's what I get on that one.
Any other questions or comments?
So we're denying?
Yeah, we'd be denying because of the sidewalk shed, because you clear 8 feet from the inner edge of the sidewalk shed supports would not leave any space for the sidewalk cafe.
Right.
Yeah.
Nellie, anyone from the community?
No, there's no one.
Okay. You all in favor of the denial?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. You, next up, number 23, 604 10th Avenue, POQ.
This one is right around the corner for me. It's actually nicely designed with planters, which are actually confined to the space that's supposed to be confined in. So the clearances are all correct, shown on the diagram. We'd like to get a STIP form, Nellie, from them, but I guess, Nellie, you haven't been in touch with them, they haven't responded.
No, they did not respond.
Okay, so in this, I'd like to do the same thing we did before, which is only get a consensus on DOT and try to get them to come back in July to do the liquor license alteration. And Nellie, will you communicate with these people as well?
Yes.
And, we have the old SIP, we have an old SIP form, so maybe you can use the contact information on there. If you get really stuck, let me know and I'll try to go and see if I can reach a manager or an agent, a manager or someone there.
Okay.
But let me know, but try emailing the people that are on the prior SIP forms as well.
Any other questions from the committee? Nelly, anyone from the community?
There's no one.
All right. So this would be, we're in favor of it, consensus to recommend the DOT portion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
All right. Very much. On to number 24, 802 9th Avenue, Topeka.
Okay, so this is one I visited and actually had extensive discussions with with one of the managers who did not seem to be aware that who I think was confused by a notice they got from the SLA from the DOT about where the sidewalk cafe stood, and they thought they were done with the process and had been approved, but I explained that that was not the case. The issue with there are a couple issues with the diagram. On the right side, you could fit some tables, but not the kind of table they have there. And on the left side, there's a tree pit not reflected in the diagram, which you can actually see in the photos, which would knock out most of the left side tables. Because as you can see, there's barely 7 feet in the photo when you have any tables there. Now, the argument I heard from the manager, and again, you can see this on the photos, because it's sort of hard to describe, it's that the left side, this is where there's the big building being built on 9th Avenue. So there's this, construction fencing there. So their point is that the current sidewalk is actually directed out into the street, with cones, and therefore that should be considered a sidewalk and they should be allowed to have these tables. But I guess I just don't see how that works with the DOT and, that we're dealing with on a permanent basis, but.
Yeah, this is not a temporary application, right? It's
Permanent, but I think the applicant has their hand up so we can hear from her, but I just wanted to give you some context. Hi there.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you. So we are a Mexican restaurant. We currently have an on-premise license and have been using the outdoor dining, the sidewalk dining since we reopened from the pandemic, working with the Department of Transportation. Currently, we're in the process of getting some tables, smaller tables than the ones we were using before, and the barricades, so we can comply with what the Department of Transportation is asking for. So we will get smaller tables and that will fit the sidewalk that we're mentioning on the plans.
Okay, but the problem with the plans is your plan did not show the tree pit on the left side. And as you can see, it's very clear in your photos. And I believe it's only about 10 feet from the tree pit to the facade of your building. So I don't think you can fit any tables on the left side, no matter how small they are.
Okay, I will make sure that we measure again and we
Yeah, I can come by sometime again and do the measurements if you like. Is there someone there? I could coordinate with to have time, whether that's you or, you know, if someone were there and we could measure together, that would be a way of dealing with this.
Sure, I can communicate with you, and I'll meet you there when you have time or when you're trying to pass
Okay.
by.
All right, could you send your email to Nellie Gonzalez in the board office? And she will send you my phone number, and you can just give me a call and we'll set something up.
Oh, okay, perfect, will do.
Okay, before we move on though, I want to summarize, and I don't think he's here, we've had a long series of complaints from one community member who I guess lives across the street. And his complaints are that you often have the doors and windows open with music very loud that can be heard out on the sidewalk and in the street, and that you often allow the tables to be rearranged and you know, more people to sit out there than they're supposed to be.
I was not aware of that, but I will talk to my team and make sure that we comply with the rules.
Okay, the other thing I pointed out to the manager I met with, who was very nice and very helpful, you have an outdoor speaker on the facade of your building, and there can't be, that is just not allowed by, you know, the DOT or by the city noise code. So, you know, I think it would be a gesture of good faith if you take that down. So, you know, there's not any chance that somehow it gets turned on.
Right, correct. We will have that removed.
Okay. But just some, I don't know if you've ever saw, we had a pretty strong letter from the 4954 Block Association. So I'm gonna just read this to you so you know what we've been hearing from the community, Stephanie. This is from the local block association, the 4954 Block Alliance, who are very active. They said, we've had nothing but complaints regarding Tacuba. Everything the resident has written is true. We, as well as other community members, have observed Tacuba blatantly breaking all stipulations on a continuous basis. They never close the doors and play music at all hours of being open. They constantly put more and more customers outside, at times blocking access to the sidewalk. They have outdoor speakers, which they refuse to remove. We are against any outdoor space. They are by far one of the worst in our neighborhood to work with the community. So I would suggest, Stephanie, that you sort of reach out to the Block Association. It's called the HK 5051 Neighborhood Association. You can get the email address from Nellie if you like. But I think you should try to talk to them because we do have to reach a conclusion on the DOT submission today, but you also need to get your liquor license altered, and we're gonna want you to come back to our meeting in July to talk about that.
I
Okay.
would, yeah, we would be able, we would like to come back then in July, and we'll speak to everybody who is involved in the process.
Okay, so in the meantime, though, we have to get our response for the DOT part, to the DOT by June 20. So you and I will, I hope, try to work this out. And I think will the committee give me like sort of discretion to get it in compliance with the rules? And if not, we'll recommend denial.
So Frank, I have a clarification question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you say I'm looking at the plan, right?
Yeah.
And so the plan is, you're saying on the right side of the plan, there is a tree pit.
No, sorry, no, I had it reversed on the uptown side, wait. No, okay, I was looking at it upside down. On the uptown side, the north side is where there's a tree pit.
I don't know that I have uptown or downtown. I don't know. This is the establishment is on the right side, on the east side of the avenue.
Yes, and so
Okay.
therefore, it's sort of counterintuitive to look at the plan unless you turn it upside down.
Right, so north
Uh,
side, north side
North side is to the right,
it's a table right now which has 6 chairs, right?
correct.
And you are
that one,
saying
I don't think that one fits at all, because I think it's only
Right.
10 feet
Okay.
from the tree pit to the wall.
But did
They
you
want-
say, yeah, did you say also that the other ones is in front of another building or not?
No, there's no obstruction on, so.
Okay.
Immediately next to that one table you pointed out, the one table with 6 seats, there's and you can see it in the photos, there's a construction, there's a plywood, 8-foot high plywood fence right along the premises border of this establishment. You can see in the photos.
Yes.
And that also, see, that's where the tree pit is.
Right.
So you can tell because those paving blocks are 5 feet, and there are only 2 of them, you can tell there's only 10 feet between the tree pit and the.
Yeah.
On the other ones, the ones on the left of the diagram, but the right of the photo, they
Right.
should fit, but I think they have to be smaller than the ones shown on the diagram.
Okay. I got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, and those are the ones I will talk to with Stephanie
Yeah.
later this week.
I got it.
Okay. So I guess the question is, putting aside the measurement issue, if we reach agreement on the measurements, are we okay, approving the sidewalk cafe despite the block association and residents' concerns, which I think we can deal with more effectively on the SLA alteration, because I'm not sure the DOT is gonna listen to issues about doors and windows being open and such.
Yeah.
But I could go either way on that, I'd like other people's thoughts.
The DOT won't care.
Right, they just care about obstructions and they will need to alter the liquor license, which is important to them.
So
That you seem concerned.
I guess we'll just have to see if they reach out to the block association and get the feedback before we approve the liquor license.
Right. And they will come back. So Stephanie, you understand what's gonna happen, right? You and I will talk about the DOT submission this week, and I'll come over and meet with you, right? You still here?
Stephanie?
Oh, you're on mute again, Stephanie.
Stephanie, you need to unmute. Right. Here you go.
I'm sorry. I'm here.
Okay, all right, so on the DOT submission, you and I will meet, I hope later this week, and do some measurements and work that out, okay?
Okay.
And then, what you then need to do is reach out to the 49, 51 Block Association and talk to them, maybe go to one of their meetings, before our next BLP meeting, which is gonna be on, July 8th. And try to see if you can work out the concerns they have with your operation.
Will do. Yes.
Okay, and then you did do a STIP form, which we appreciate, but a lot of it, needs better answers. So if you could, take another look at it, there were some pages you didn't answer at all. So if you would, answer those again, that would be great. And we'll need that. Nellie will give you a deadline, but we'll need that in advance of the July meeting.
Okay. Perfect. I'll take care of all that.
Okay, so just email Nellie with your contact info. She'll give you my phone number and the contact for the Block Association.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Okay, hold on a second now. Let's see. Nellie, is there anyone from the community on about this?
No, there's no one.
Okay.
Given that we are decoupling them, I would be comfortable with the
Okay.
report.
Yeah, I don't think we get any traction with the DOT, so as long as, if we can work out the measurements, if we disagree on the measurements or I don't know how we do, but then I think I would wanna deny the DOT thing, so do I need a proxy to do that, depending on this work set? Okay.
Yeah.
Approved.
Everybody agree there? Staying
Yeah.
good, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, on to our last item, number 25, 852 9th Avenue, Ashtabal Garden.
I looked at that. Is anyone from the applicant here?
Yeah, hi, I'm Corey from
Hi,
Cascadel.
Corey.
Hey there.
Okay. So I went and looked at this. They are proposing a very limited sidewalk cafe, given the hydrants and the parking meters and things. So you are only gonna have 2 tables with the total of 4 seats, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And that's a lot less than you have now.
Well, the landlord gave us permission to put seats in front of the neighboring building during COVID and stuff. But there's a new tenant moving in there.
Yeah, but even in front of your old building, you have your own building, you have more than 2 tables right now. So after today, you will go to what's on your plan here.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay, great. So the measurements look okay to me. Christine, I guess we have the issue of the parking meter, which is not directly opposite. Being only 8 feet away, but I think we treat that the way we do. It won't interfere with recommending approval, but we will note it on the DOT form.
Yeah.
Okay. And back to Corey. I was looking at your old stipulations, and we have a lot of stipulations about the rear yard. Are you using that at all?
It's actually not a yard. We built it's basically an extension of the building.
Okay. Does it have any windows or anything?
Yeah, it has skylights and windows.
So can we, what you stipulated back in, when was this?
2016 maybe?
2014.
14.
Is that the doors and windows, the structure were gonna be closed, but that you could do tests with the windows open with notice to the neighbors and get agreement to the neighbors to keep the windows, the structure open. Did you do any of that, or?
We actually never, yeah, we never opened the windows in the back.
Okay, so can we carry over all these stipulations that the doors and windows will be closed unless you reach out to the neighbors first?
You mean for the back room?
For the front.
No, I'm talking about the rear yard for the moment.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and then you also stipulated that no patrons or staff would be permitted in the remaining outside area, in other words, outside the structure. Are you okay with that, Bill?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and that the enclosed structure is gonna be closed and vacated by 11 PM on Sunday to Thursdays and midnight Friday, Saturdays?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so we're gonna copy all that over to the new STIP form. On the new STIP form, you also didn't circle any music. You just have, background music, I assume?
Yeah, just background music, but the speakers are not even near the front of the building.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then I did notice, that you had shorter hours than you had back in 2014. The new hours, I think, are the ones you wanted to be closed and vacated at 11, and this is inside as well as outside. 11 PM on Sunday to Thursday, and actually, you have 11 PM Sunday to Friday and midnight on Saturday. Is that better closing time you want?
Yeah, that's correct.
And that's closed and vacated of customers, that's not last call.
Yeah, that's closed and vacated. Yeah.
Okay, 11 PM every day except Saturday, which is midnight.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's what I have.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Nelly, anyone online?
No, there's no one.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm good.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay.
Christine?
Okay,
Good night.
Great, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Maggie, are you good?
Yep, I'm okay too.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, thanks everybody for, doing more than your share of work tonight. I think we're each punching these two people.
Did it.
So people generally okay with what I suggested, that with a couple of exceptions that have serious community feedback, we're coming back. We'll just lump these together at the next meeting. Did anyone have any minority positions, any of the ones we approved? Okay, so nothing, but if you think of anything, if you want anything sort of broken out next month, when we hopefully will have a forum, let us know.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
All right, thank you, everybody.
All right.
Fewer people, we move faster.
Yeah.
Okay, 9:10 for a change.
So it wasn't an official vote, it's just like, okay, everybody.
Right. All right, anything else, Mike or Christine?
No, everything is perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks for
I have
joining.
one comment. Christine, I have what you have for 2 months.
Well,
And it
good
just
job.
ain't, yeah, well, the
Horrible.
sign is still all that, but 2 months.
It's horrible.
I'm telling you, it's killing me.
All right, hope you both
Okay.
feel better,
Right.
soon as the next 2 months.
See ya. Bye.
Good
Okay,
night.
thank you.
Bye.